So what's going on, everybody, and welcome back. So we are gonna put the same turbo back on, guys. I hate to break it to you, but I bought the same turbo. You know why? Because it's easy and it'll bolt right up. And two, it lasted 10,000 miles, which is not that bad. It's not like it lasted 500 miles, you know? 10,000 miles is not nothing. And I think I probably killed it by not feeding it enough oil or just didn't run it properly. I didn't idle the car when I was done beating on it. I mean, I tried to, but you can only idle the car for so long. You know, it's oil cooled. How long does it take for the oil to cool down? Probably minutes. You know, I'm not going to idle it for 10 minutes every time I park it. So it is what it is. I probably killed it, but a lot of people have had success with these eBay turbos for long term. But I'm willing to just keep throwing cheap turbos at it because it still makes boost, and it's still way cheaper than an expensive turbo. And who cares if you got to take the turbo off once every 5 years? It's been 5 years. So I decided I'm going to do it again. Plus, I don't have to modify anything. That was my biggest gripe, was that I'd have to change my exhaust. And I don't want to have to change the exhaust because I plan to hopefully run this thing for this season and maybe turn it up a little bit, see what it'll do on the stock motor. And if it goes, you know, kaboom, then it is what it is. I think I'm probably going to put something else in it. I don't know yet what it is, but I got some ideas here of what I want to put in it. So I think I'm going to try to locate that soon, coming up. Once it starts to get warmer, try to get that from the junkyard or something, and then just turn this thing up and see what it'll do. Just try to be the, you know, I know plenty of guys have turned these things up and they hold a good amount of boost. So we'll see what I can do with this. I probably will have a tough time blowing it up, to be honest, especially if I get the meth injection hooked up, which I'd like to do too. So plan is right now, put the turbo on, get the meth on it, and make the meth work, and then tune it on like, I don't know, 15 pounds, and then just let it rip. But here is the new turbo. Same as the old guy. I actually have the exhaust housing here to show you that it's the same. I have all the other turbo parts here. Here's the compressor side. So if you look, it's the same turbo. It's the exact same casting. It looks the same. It's got all the same little notches. Serial numbers are different, but you know, they look different all these years later. But it still says TRB T04E. TRB T04E. Serial numbers, this one says 18, which I assume is 2018. This one says 22, which I assume is 2022. So just a newer version of the same turbo. 60 on the compressor, 63 on the AR on the exhaust. I don't know all the other specs, guys. I'm not that familiar. I just run these things. But it's all new inside. I'm excited. No more worn out bearings. So should be good. Should make good boost. I can't wait to get it on the car. So I'm going to get started on doing the little stuff. Put on the drain with my gaskets and, you know, just clock it like this one was clocked. I'm going to have to try to mock it up on the car and leave it loose, make sure everything fits, and then probably take it back off and crank everything down. But yeah, so far everything's going pretty good. I like this way of doing it because it's easy, like I said, and I'm just gonna rock it. So we'll see what this setup can do because I never really got to turn it all the way up. So I'm gonna start mounting it. So I just want to go over some stuff that I've been learning. So when you go with any sort of eBay journal bearing turbo, there's ball bearing turbos and there's journal bearing. Journal bearing, the clearances are looser, and the oil required is greater than a ball bearing. So a ball bearing, they usually say, I think it's 35 or 0.035, I may be messing up how to say it, but 35 thousandths, I guess, was how they measure it for a feed, which is ball bearing. This is a journal bearing turbo. So they say, I've heard 65 to 80, 0.065 to 0.080. And this, I'm not exactly sure what this feed here is. I mentioned I'm going to drill it out, and I think I just want to drill it all the way out to this size and just feed it everything. And that's what I decided, because at the end of the day, if you do have an adequate drain here, And I watched some videos of like a cross section of a turbo, and basically they showed that there are no seals in here, and I verified that pulling it apart. It's only piston rings in here, so there's no seals to keep the oil out. The oil literally comes in the top, out the bottom. As long as you have this thing straight up and down, it just like goes into the bearing, and then it drains out gravity out of the bottom. So if this hole is large enough, which our gasket is the right size, and if you look at this feed here, or I'm sorry, this return, it's large. So we have a 10. It's a -10 AN line. So as long as you have a -10 on here, which I do, and a nice straight section here where it goes. I mean, I guess I could taper this a little bit to help flow, and I may do that, go in there with a Dremel and just grind this out and just try to help the flow out of here. That's pretty much all you can do for this. It should flow out of here really well as a -10, so I should be able to feed it pretty much a -4 on the inlet. So you can see the little hole in there is it's not the whole thing. So I'm gonna try to drill it out all the way, and maybe that's wrong, but I guess we'll know. If it smokes all the time, then I'm over pressurizing it, but you're not gonna blow your seals out. So I'll just get a different restrictor and try that and go a little smaller. But for now, I think I'm gonna drill this out and I'm gonna send this thing some pressure. Maybe it'll last longer and maybe it'll smoke. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. I think it might help to cool this thing, you know? So we'll see. Under wide open with 90 PSI, maybe it smokes a little bit. But if it keeps the turbo from blowing up, I don't care about a little smoke under wide open. It's not really a big deal to me. It's more like longevity wise, and like I'm talking billowing smoke on a cold start. That's embarrassing. But smoking under wide open, I don't think anybody cares when you're getting gapped. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. If you get covered in smoke, it's the eBay turbo. Okay. So I'm gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna ream this out. I don't think I need to, but you know, I think it'll flow just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap this on here, and if we have any backup problems, then I'll change the hole size and maybe I'll ream this out too. We'll see how it goes. But now is probably the better time to do it. Maybe I'll just do it a little bit, you know, just bevel the edge just a tiny bit. So I just got done making a short on this. I'm trying to make some shorts here. Hopefully I can stick with it. But I hit this thing with the Dremel pretty good, guys. I've reamed this thing way out. It's a lot more beveled going down to it, so hopefully the flow will be better. I toyed around with the idea of getting rid of the threads, but I'm just not going to go that crazy. I could grind all the threads out too, but it's not that serious. So I'm just going to hope that the flow is good enough to get it into this, which is smaller here than here, but at least it's a smooth transition now and it doesn't have to hit a wall. So hopefully the oil flows right out of this thing. So just all that's left is to bolt it up, and we're going to drill out the feed now, try to modify that. So I had that guy over here, which is hooked up to our feed line, but I'm going to try to drill it out. I might go up slightly in small increments here and use the drill. Just try to get this guy to a size where I think it's going to be acceptable. I may try to see what the thickness or what the size actually ends up being, how many thousandths. Yeah, we'll see. This is 7/64, I think, which is 109 thousandths. Starting to get a bit bigger. I think we could still afford to go a little more. So I spent last night doing a couple things. Got all this hardware for one. So I got new bolts, just because I don't want to snap these. I know they've been heat cycled a lot, and I'm going to try to torque them down really good. And I'll probably have to torque them down again because these guys always seem to stretch or do something when the manifold heats up and contracts a bunch. I feel like you almost got to either tighten it when it's hot or just heat cycle it a few times and then crank them down again. I'm not going to use any kind of Loctite because I want to be able to get it apart in the future. But these are for the 5-bolt downpipe flange here. I wish I had a 4-bolt, honestly. It seems easier. Should have went that route, but I didn't want to modify anything, and this is what I already got, because I didn't know back when I bought this turbo that there were other options for down, like a V-band would be great, obviously, too. Anyway, we're working with what we got. So I put the feed on. You can see we got the feed bolted. Oh, hang on. Yeah, so you can see we got the feed bolted on there. I cranked it down as good as I could. Once again, as that gasket, I don't know, wears in, gets soaked with oil, it'll have to be retorqued. And then I got the drain on as well, which I reamed out, I showed you guys. So feed and drain are in. I also got it clocked. So basically what that means is you loosen all these 13s all the way around on the compressor side, and you do it on the exhaust side too. There's a bunch of 13s, these black 13s. You loosen all these guys, and then this center section will spin freely from this, and you're able to spin it and get it so that basically when this thing's mounted in the car, like this, that your drain is vertical up and down, which is what you want. So you gotta kind of mock it up and leave all the bolts loose, and then tighten 1 or 2 of them on each when it's in the right position, and then take it back off, crank them all down, and then put it back on. So I'm ready to put it back on. I have my 4-bolt gasket for my flange somewhere. I gotta find it. And then I have new gaskets for my 5-bolt flange here. So I was thinking that there's kind of a hole on these turbos here. This is if you have I think a wastegate that's like mounted off of here or something, but I don't obviously. So I'm thinking what I might do, or actually it goes like this. What I think I might do is try to put some sealant on there, like put, you know, some red, if I can find my high temp RTV, put it right here, and then have it seal on this, and then I won't have to worry about this leaking, because it might leak, because it's only just, you know, stainless here, and I don't know how good the flange is on that 5-bolt flange, if it's warped or not. So give me a little peace of mind. I know this has like a ridge that compresses when you tighten it down. Whether or not it does a good job or not, I don't know, but I'll do my best. I think I'm gonna try to high temp RTV this and see if that fixes a little exhaust leak action. So I'm in the process of installing with a few tips here. All my new hardware is looking good, except for these guys were way too short. Yeah, I suck. I just bought the wrong thing. So otherwise, we're looking good. The gasket fit in there pretty nicely. I got all of them started. This one in the back was the hardest one. I'll show you guys. So sometimes you gotta get creative. I'm using an Allen here on this guy. So that's the only way I can get something in there, and this Allen wrench. And that's just the way it's gotta be, because I went with a 3-inch downpipe, which is really hard on this 5-bolt flange. So not really ideal, kind of stupid, but I've been trying to get this as tight as I possibly can. You can see it's not quite bottomed out yet down here. So what I've been doing is trying to use a wrench and just kind of, you know, cranking it down until I get to where I can't move it anymore, and then put it back in. Just a little at a time here. Trying to make sure that I get as much out of it as I can, even though it's a tight area. And yeah, just cranking them down. I cranked all these guys down really tight, so I think we may have less leaks than we ever did, because I definitely had some leaks. So yeah, hopefully I can get the wastegate pipe put in there. I think I might want to, I was thinking about cleaning up the welds in the wastegate pipe, because they look a little not so nice, and it's also leaky. So maybe we'll fix that, and I'll wait to put that on. But yeah, otherwise everything's tightening up nicely. So I'm gonna go over everything one more time and just crank on it. I didn't end up putting high temp RTV just because I didn't have any. Oh well. But yeah, this downpipe's definitely tight, and I think in the future when I make something, I'm gonna do a flex pipe closer, so I have a little bit more wiggle room. It's kind of making it difficult. But yeah, just the drain line to go on and the feed line, and put the discharge pipe back on after the pipe, and we're back together. This thing's really simple, not a crazy setup. So I'm just gonna keep wrenching on my Allen and all my other bolts to get this flange nice and cranked, and we should be in business. Alright guys, we're all put together, bolted down and cranked. I got the drain on, feeds on and cranked. All the bolts are tight. Only thing that's not on is the wastegate pipe. And I may just throw that on just because it's only when you're in full boost that thing's gonna open, and therefore it's gonna be loud anyway because it's a screamer pipe, so who cares if it leaks a little bit. It always smells a little bit in the car when I rip it. Maybe those exhaust sticks will be diminished, but I think some of the exhaust collects underneath the vehicle because of the, screamer pipe and everything, but that's okay. So I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to make a colder intake box for it this winter, or if I want to just run it open turbo and just like see if that makes a difference and just, send it with a wide open turbo, especially when I turn the boost up. Just see what it does. I know it might get hot in here, but I don't know. I'm gonna send it. We'll just try it. I think it's probably the same as sucking air from over here as sucking air from right here, right? I mean, the manifold's right there, but I don't think it's much of a difference. So hopefully, it'll suck hot air out of the radiator. Not very good for intake air temps, but I don't think anybody's gonna. I don't know. I still gotta think about it. So yeah, just so everybody knows, the intercooler pipes are holding up really well. Nothing's broken apart. All the flexes you see is in the coupler. None of these pipes are busted. So seems like it's a viable option instead of welding them, is to use the brazing rod. Seems like it worked out pretty good, guys. So I'll definitely do that in the future. I think it's it's definitely not easy, I'll tell you that. But once you get it and you build up layers, you can grind it off and just make sure you have an adequate amount, and it holds together really well. And I hope it doesn't leak. I haven't pressure tested it, but I don't think it does. I don't see any pockets. So I know a lot of people have asked me about those, but the pipes are doing good. So yeah, I just got to tighten up the clamps, but I think I want to throw the turbo blanket back on. I don't know if I'm going to wait, start it, see if it leaks, or see what's going on, but I think I might just suck it up and throw the turbo blanket on. But I got the Allen on there. I think I showed you the Allen that I got in there. I cranked on it with the Allen wrench. So yeah, that's definitely tight. So hopefully this thing starts up and it's super quiet in front and doesn't leak that bad. Not that it ever did, but it was a little bit leaky, I guess, at times. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the turbo install. And I think that's gonna cap it off for right now. But so this is gonna be it for this video. I do want to announce that I got some new merch. I think I might make a video dedicated to that and talking about that, but I just wanted to say that I have some new merch. If you go on the Teespring, they're pretty cool, and stickers too. If you guys are interested, I posted some stickers on there, so that's a cool option too. They're not that much money, like $7 or $6. I don't really make that much on them, just so you guys know. It's more just to get the stickers out there, but I do it through the company Teespring. So it's legit, and don't worry about, I'm not gonna like scam you or anything. It is legit. I'm affiliated with Teespring, so check out the link and go and see if you guys want to buy some merch. The new design is pretty awesome. I'm excited. It really is like, the new version of the car. These older t-shirts and sweatshirts that I'm wearing is like how the car used to look. So it's not really that updated, and it's a little bit more basic. This is like a really cool new shirt design. So you guys definitely should go check that out. And yeah, thank you. I'm gonna post it on Instagram and all that good stuff. So appreciate you guys watching the videos, and stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be out ripping soon. It is February, so we got some time, but I'm sure I'll think of a few more projects I want to do. Methanol injection, I'm really thinking I gotta get that hooked up. That'll be really cool. So I'm gonna hook that up next, maybe. Yeah, so hang around, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.